Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This morning's learning is sponsored by Hannah and Robert Klein in memory of Daniel Katz, son of Arlene and Irving Katz and brother of Menashe and Shlomo Katz. It should be a schus for his neshama. Thank you very much to the Kleins. Chapter 18, verse 7. We have at the chapter 18, verse 7, we have at the very beginning of the Parsha, the famous episode where Avraham is acting with great kindness to the men who are angels. And the Torah goes into great detail as to what he did. Just to highlight one pasuk, but this is not the only pasuk. V'el habakar rotz Avraham. Avraham ran to the cattle. V'ikach ben bakar rach vatov. He took a young calf, soft and good. V'yitein el hanar, and he gave it to the lad, being Shmuel, by the way. V'yimaher la so, and he dealt with it quickly. This is one of a few psukim at least, having to do with all the care Avram took to look out for the guests. Ramban on Pasuk Zayin. And you kind of have to ask yourself, this is really nice, but of all the things that are just alluded to in the Torah and not said explicitly, do I really need to know what the menu was? Is that really important? I see Scott is planning an event, so he's nodding, but so Ramban on Pasuk Zayin, Vel Habakar Ratz Avraham, Lahagid Rov Chashko B'Nedivos. This phrase that Avraham ran to the cattle, this phrase specifically shows his tremendous desire in generosity. Ki ha'adam hagadol, this prominent personage, asher hayu beveso shmona asaru shlosh meos ish. He had 318 people in his household, sholev cherev, who were ready to draw swords for him, right? From the story with the war with the kings, he had 318 soldiers at his discretion. He was an elderly man. He had just gotten circumcised. He went on his own to Sarah's tent, to urge her in making the bread. And then after encountering Sarah and encouraging her, he ran to get the right animal and choose the right one. And he didn't do any of this through any of the many aides and attendants that were there at his beck and call, but he didn't resort to that because it was so exciting for him to get to participate in this. It's just a nice sort of fleshing out part of the message here, presumably the primary message. Okay, verse 15. Actually, let's back up a drop. One of the angels tells Avram and Sarah that they're going to have a child together. Avram already has a son, Yishmael, but Avram and Sarah haven't had a child together. And this, of course, is going to be Yitzchak. And verse 11, let's start chapter 18, verse 11. Avram and Sarah were elderly. She no longer had regular menstrual cycles. Literally translated, Sarah laughed inwardly, saying, like after all this, all of a sudden I'll start having a period again. When my husband is old. Verse 13, Vayomer Hashem al Avraham. Hashem says to Avram, why is it that Sarah's laughing? What? That I'm too old. Could it really be that I'll give birth? There's a very famous thing over here. I believe it's Rashi makes the point that he didn't tell Avraham that he said you're old also, that she said you're old also. He didn't mention that to him, but she did. But why is she laughing? Oh, it's ridiculous. I'm too old to have a child. Verse 14, is there anything that is beyond God? I'll come back to you a year from now and Sarah will have a child. So there's this message to Avram. Why is Sarah laughing? Why does she think this is funny? Does she not believe? Very strong message, and it's a message from God. Verse 15. Sarah lemor lo tzochakti ki yoreya. Literally translated, Sarah lied, saying, I didn't laugh. And the reason why she said that is because she was afraid. Vayomer, and Avram answered, Lo, ki tzachakt. No, not true. You did laugh. Very, very striking set of psukim, and particularly verse 15. Sarah was a great tzaddikas. We talk so much about Sarah. So she just lied. She lied. And why did she lie? And if it's so bad to laugh, why did she laugh in the first place? What's going on over here? Ramban and Pasuk Tesvav. Batchachesh Sarah limor. Ani tama b'nevi'at tzaddikas. It's hard for me to understand how this prophetess, this pious woman, Eich techachesh b'asher Amar Hashem l'navi. God told Avraham that Sarah laughed. Why would she counter that? And why shouldn't she believe the words of an angel of God? The Ramban says, I think the pshat is, these angels look like men, and they came to Avraham. He understood they were angels. And one of the angels who Avram understood was an angel said, I'll come back a year from now and Sarah will have a child. Sarah Shumas, and Sarah heard this. Sarah didn't understand that they were angels. Right? The famous thing with the parents of Shimshon, it wasn't so clear that the visitor who told them about the miracle that would happen, it wasn't so obvious that the person was an angel. Some cloud, says the Ramban, it's possible that she didn't see them at all, right? That's the language of the pasuk. Sarah heard, right? So it's possible she didn't even see. But one way or the other, says the Ramban, she didn't understand they were angels. And she laughed inwardly in sort of a mocking way. Kamo Yoshev Vashamayim Yischak Hashem Yilat Lamo Ki Aschok L'Simcha Hu Bepeh Azimole Schok Pinu Aval Aschok Belev Lo Yomer B'Simcha. Very interesting thing. The Ramban says there's a big difference when the pasuk talks about laughter in the mouth or laughter in the heart. Laughter in the mouth is an expression of joy and celebration. Laughter in the heart is an expression of incredulity. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you. So she laughed in her heart, within herself. She was skeptical. But she was skeptical because there's some guy off the street who gives her a bracha. She should have a child in a year. Have you seen my medical chart? What are you talking about? I mean, it's crazy. She didn't realize it was an angel speaking. So God says to Avram, why is it that her idea is that something might not, there's no such thing, there's no such way that something could happen. Why is she so sure? Even if she doesn't know that it's an angel, anything is possible. Let her believe that it's a possibility. Either that, yes, it could happen. Oh, shetomar, amen, ken yaseh Hashem. And if she thinks it's skeptical, it's unlikely, let her say, let it be the will of God. Whether or not it ever happens, let it be the will of God. But to just be skeptical that it could ever happen, how could someone who knows God the way she knows God think that anything is impossible? Avram says to her, Lama tzachakt. Why did you laugh? Is anything beyond God? It's clear in the pasuk. Avram does not say to her, hey, you know what Hashem just told me? Hashem just told me you laughed. Doesn't say that. So he didn't say that to her. He just said, why did you laugh? Because she was uncomfortable being confronted by Avram in that way and criticized for her lack of believing that anything is possible, she altered the truth. She denied it because she thought Avram was just trying to read her face, to read her facial expression. Or maybe it was just because she was quiet. Maybe the fact that she didn't say, yes, that would be amazing, and she just was quiet. So, first of all, says the Ramban, she didn't say anything, and she didn't outwardly laugh. It was within herself, like she thought to herself. So when Avram says this to her, maybe it's because he said it to her, maybe because she was quiet, maybe because he read a facial expression of hers. So she says, no, I didn't laugh. Now she knew that she laughed, but it was, how it is. What it is Avram was saying to her, why are you being skeptical? It's a very nebulous definition. That's basically what Avram was saying to her. Why did you think it couldn't happen? So she said, I didn't think it couldn't happen. Maybe she says to herself, I thought it was unlikely. I didn't say it's impossible. And by the way, she didn't say anything. Hu amar lo itzachakt. So she sort of denied that was her reaction because she was uncomfortable. And Avram then said, no, I know what I'm talking about. Oz hevina kim b'nevuah ne'amar lo came. Then she understood that it was said to her, that it was said to Avram as a prophecy. V'shaska v'lo anso sadavar. And that's why there's no response to his last point, because she knows she was proven to have spoken incorrectly. V'roi shenomar od ki Avram lo gila lo hanemar lo mitchila avol sarish techa yoledes techabein. It could very well be, says Ramban, that Avram had never told her the assurance that God gave her in last week's parsha that she would have a child. So Avram, of course, hears this. This is only a confirmation when the angel says it to Avram. Avram already knows it. But Sarah, maybe, says the Ramban, this is totally new. Ulai himtin ad shiluach Hashem elea habesura b'yom machar ki yada klo yas Hashem elokim davar kim gila sodu el avad of hanaviyim omerov zrizu. Okay, so maybe he says, maybe Avram didn't tell her because he figured Hashem would send her a message on his own. Let her hear it directly from Hashem's messenger or message. And of course, that is what he was right, because the angels came. Terem Remember, the assurance that God gives Avram about having a child is connected to a bris. So it could be, says the Ramban, that this was a busy time for Avram. Gave himself a bris. We had in the end of last parsha, he gave his whole household a bris. And then after he gave himself a bris, he had to recover. Right? He gave himself a bris after all these people. See, he's in recovery. So he just didn't get around to telling her. So this is an interesting Ramban on a number of levels. First of all, the Ramban again says that it's not that she did anything, it's not that she said anything, but what it is that she was skeptical inwardly. And that, says the Ramban, is why she denied it when Avram said something, because what does he know? What exactly was a reaction, wasn't a reaction? But then when he says it again, it's clear that he had a nevuah. He had a prophecy, so she doesn't respond to that. And then also the Ramban just entertains the possibility that he had never shared with her the assurance from God that they would have a child together in the first place. This is a very interesting topic. So we saw the Ramban regarding Avram's great zerizus and taking care of the guests. And we saw the Ramban on this discussion about Sarah's laughter and the exchange between Avram and Sarah.